I am right in between projects at the moment. I'm waiting for parts or just not in the mood to make the stuff I have planned, or I couldn't find any fun projects to work on. So I had a bit of a nostalgic moment and I looked back at some old projects of mine and turns out I actually learned from it. Sometimes the simplest things are the most beautiful. Yet sometimes I spend too much time making stuff too complicated that don't even end up looking good. And I need to remind myself of that when I'm planning. Make it simple but significant.
Done. Make it simple but significant.
I mean, I spent like 2 weeks making this desk that I have, which I like it and all, but it's just a desk where I edit videos. And a desk really doesn't need to be that complicated. I mean, this wasn't a complicated build, but it was, since it was one of my first ever furniture builds. On the other hand, I also made this lamp that took me like 20 minutes to make. I found these old copper pipes like 10 years ago and we just had them lying around until one day when I just pieced them together. I didn't even bend them because they were already bent. Then I pushed a wire through and put it on the wall and we had a lamp. This isn't even a lamp really, it's just a bunch of copper pipes pushed together with a bulb at the end. But we really love it and people actually ask where we bought it. No one ever asked where I bought the desk. So by looking back at this project, the not lamp, I realized that simplicity is key. Another thing I looked at was this ugly wall charger that I made. And this was purely to solve a problem. The kids kept complaining that their iPad wasn't charged and I told them to charge it and they said we can't find the charger. So I built this. And they actually use it every day. And I haven't heard them complaining ever since. The reason it looks like it does is because we had this laptop table for the bed from IKEA that we never used. So I took it apart, cut it in half and put it together like this and painted it. Now this isn't elegant at all, but I did learn something from this as well, because the idea for this came out of a problem. So if you can't find something to do, try to think of the problems you might have and that might lead you to a new project. And when I looked in our bookshelf, I found this. My fist, that we now use as a book stop. And I made this because I wanted to try out this material called alginate to make molds. And I didn't really have any ideas what to use it for, so I just made a fist. Then I poured some leftover concrete in the mold for no real reason at all, just experimenting with a new material. And by working with new materials, you actually spawn new ideas. So experiment more. Try new materials, try something you never used. And the more materials you end up knowing about and working with, the more stuff you can make. So from looking back at some old projects I did before I started my YouTube channel, I actually learned 3 things. Make it simple, solve problems, experiment more. And also it's quite nice looking back at some old stuff you made. I mean, not just look at them. Try to remember how and why you made them, and that might lead you to some new ideas. Now, I actually came up with a couple of ideas myself, so stay tuned. So after I shot the video, I was looking at the fist and I got curious. Could I make like a metal hand instead? So I revisited that project. I made a mold with alginate. The alginate is a really cool material as it hardens in about 3 to 4 minutes. Then I poured some plaster in the mold and waited an hour. I then covered the plaster in wood glue and sprinkled metal powder all over it. I waited for it to dry and then I applied some rust activator. And that thing turned rusty in a matter of 2 hours. And then I actually sprayed it with some varnish to seal it up. Now this fist can't really be used for anything, but I guess we have another book stop. But as I said, you get ideas from just experimenting. Someone suggested making a couple of these as coat hangers over on Instagram, and that might be a good idea. Well, that's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! Ja, lite kvar. So after I am right in between project that will